Please leave your message for...
Welcome. This is Penetrate Your Brain, the podcast, a Zombie Torres media production, hosted by your favorite Mexican, Zombie Torres. The podcast where we penetrate your brain with knowledge and information about horror, the paranormal, true crime, current events, pop culture, the sex industry, and everything in between, and a whole lot more. I mean gore. Some material may not be suitable for everyone. You have been warned. Enjoy.
Nalga, digo, bueno.
Me tardé un poco porque no tenía donde estacionar el carro.
No me lo vas a creer, enano.
¿Qué?
Esta chava se disfrazó de prostituta y subió a ver a 2 de sus clientes.
Oye, ¿y cuánto nos cobrará a nosotros?
No, yo creo que menos, pues 1.5.
¡Órale, güey!
Hola. Hola. ¿Me das tu hora?
Ok, pero tú me das mañana.
Ay, qué plática tan cachonda.
Oye, ¿cómo te volviste maricón,
Como tú, preguntando.
Ah, qué vaciado. No, de veras, cuéntame, ¿cómo empezaste?
Ay, eso hace mucho. Cuando yo era chico, conocí un muchacho. Se llamaba Nacho. Ay, me llevó en su coche. Ay, era de noche. Me llevó a su rancho. Y entre él y Pancho me lo hicieron ancho.
Así que en tu familia, tú eres el único jotito.
Ay, no, está mi primo Raúl y mi primo Rafa. Son puñalitos. Aparte tengo un tío y 2 padrinos.
Así que en tu familia, a nadie le gustan las mujeres, ¿verdad?
Ay, cómo no, mi hermana Chata tiene de a 2.
And those were audio clips from movies from Alfonso Zayas. Today is a very, very special episode. I've been working on this for a while now. I got my comadre here, Valentine. Say hi, Val.
I guess hi.
So like I told you before, I've been dying to do this podcast on Alfonso Zayas because there's nothing really out there for the English speaking fans out there. And I've done research and I've watched videos and I've gone back for on old interviews. So I finally was able to finish it. And so again, today's episode is on my favorite comedic actor, Alfonso Zayas. Doing research on this, I learned a lot more than I thought I was going to learn. Mm-hmm. And the reason I wanted you, comadre, is because you brought up some points that I didn't even find out till today before we started recording this.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess here we go.
All right, let's start.
Juan Alfonso Zayas Inclán, better known as Alfonso Zayas, was born June 30th, 1941 in Tulancingo, Mexico. And that's no, I didn't know there was a state called Tulancingo, comadre.
There's a lot of states that they have that, that Indian name, that weird spelling you can't pronounce, and not unless you're from there.
Like a native.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. So his father was Alfonso Zayas Cetina, and his mother was Dolores Inclán. My father was an educated man until he met my mother. He was a musician, a guitar player. He was from the era of Guti Cardenas. He once said in an interview. Do you know who Guti Cardenas is, comadre?
I assume it's music, like orchestral music.
Close. Guti Cardenas was a Mexican singer and composer that actually recorded with Columbia Records in the States before his tragic death in 1932 at the young age of 27.
That magic number.
That magic number, yes. Dolores Inclán came from a family of performers and actors. Alfonso Zayas is actually related to Rafael Inclán, and his uncle happens to be Raúl Chato Padilla, who you might know better as Jaime El Cartero from El Chavo del Ocho.
Okay.
In 1950, at the tender age of 9, he made his first movie appearance in a movie called Azahares para tu boda, which translates to Orange Blossoms for Your Wedding. So although Alfonso never really wanted to be an actor because, as he put it, I saw my family struggle to make ends meet in show business. He just kind of fell into it and it was a natural at it. At 17, he appeared in 1958's comedy movie Piernas de Oro, Golden Legs. Around this time, he got a job with the help of his father as the floor manager for Televicentro, a Mexican TV studio, where he met up-and-coming actor Javier Lopez, also known as Chabelo.
Okay.
Do you remember Chabelo?
Yeah, Chabelo is a character. What do you call the character where he played a kid?
Yeah, he played like a big baby.
Yeah.
I guess you could say he was
like the cartoon Baby
say,
Huey.
Baby Huey.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna actually put. Let's hear a clip from one of his movies. This is actually a clip from La Criada Bien Criada, the film, not to be confused with the TV show.
Esta es otra de tus movidas, ¿verdad, güera?
Óigame, jovencito, ningún movida.
Niño, jovencito. Para que te lo sepas, soy un niño y apenas tengo 7 años cumplidos. Niño, grosero,
malcriado. Y luego dicen que hay escasez de carne, mira nomás.
Óyeme, pues, ¿qué quieres decir? A ver. Niño, déjalo en paz. ¿A qué le tiras?
Niño, déjale a él que por él estoy en su casa. Él me llevó. Suéltelo.
Te perdono. Además, tienes cara de mansito.
Pues sí, es que yo soy mansito como un perrito.
A ver, hazme como perrito.
¿Qué?
Que me hagas como perrito.
¿Cómo te vas a hacer como perrito? ¿Qué?
Que me haga como perrito, si no me voy a ahogar yo solo.
No, niño, no empiece. Hágale como perrito.
¿Cómo lo vas a hacer como perrito?
Ándele,
¿Cara de qué me
voy
vio?
a ahogar yo solo.
No, niño.
Como perro.
Si no se pone el niño morado. Ándele.
Contra, nada más lo hago por usted, porque la quiero.
¡Saca, perro cochino!
Ándele.
Okay, so now that you heard the clip, now you can put a voice to the face. And if you grew up in Mexico back in the day, you know who Chabelo is.
Yeah, he was very popular back in the 60s. He made a couple of movies where he was a lead role, where he played his best friends with some little kid. I don't remember the title of the movie, but he was very, very popular.
I do remember those. Yeah, I remember those movies.
Okay.
Yes. So they both started working and acting in sketches together. In 1962, he appears in his first theater play called Who, thanks to you, comadre, I found out is the mother of rock royalty Alejandra Guzman.
Yes, her father is also Enrique Guzman, who was popular back in the 50s and 60s. He used to have a rock and roll group called the Teen Tops.
I think didn't she cover one of his songs?
Yes, La Plaga.
Oh, I remember that song. I remember that song.
Yeah.
So Sylvia is known as one of Mexico's stars and one of the last surviving major stars from the golden age of Mexican cinema and the golden age of Hollywood for her 1969 film Shark, which also co-starred a young Burt Reynolds.
Yep. I think it was coming fresh of a TV show. I forgot the name of the TV show. It was a Western.
Obviously this was obviously before Deliverance as well, right?
Deliverance is where he won an Academy Award.
Right.
But I think that was his breakthrough movie, Deliverance. And after that, the what do you call it? The Cannonball Run,
Smoking Bandit,
Smoking Bandit, right. And
his appearance in Playgirl.
Yeah, and then he made that comeback with Mark Wahlberg.
Boogie Nights.
Yeah, which he got nominated for a Golden Globe or something. I think he won a Golden Globe. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
But that was his comeback role.
So at the age of 19, Alfonso finds out he's going to be a father. His first son is named Luis Alberto Zayas, but sadly, he doesn't meet his son until much later when his son is 8 years old. The boy's grandfather didn't want Zayas in the picture and wanted him to stay away from his daughter and grandson, and even threatened with Zayas with a very big gun, Zayas once said.
Okay.
He would later drop off presents to his son with the help of one of his friends without the grandfather knowing. So, a las escondidas, you know.
Yeah.
Shortly after performing on Sweet Irma, he tragically lost both of his parents. And with the loss of his parents and not being able to see his first child, one would think that Alfonso was looking for something to fill the void in his heart. So at the young age of 21, Alfonso decided to get married to Barbara Montes de Oca. Needless to say, the marriage didn't last. After 5 years, they got a divorce, but that marriage produced 3 children.
Okay.
You know, in total, I think he had 9 kids. So
I had no idea.
Yeah, he had about 9 kids. By the time his divorce became final, Alfonso's star was rising, and he was starting in the hit Mexican comedy classic La Criada Bien Criada, The Well-Raised Maid. And we just heard the clip of the movie, 1972's movie. You know, it's kind of like MASH, the movie, and MASH, the TV show.
Yeah.
They had nothing to do with each other. It's just, I remember watching this show as a young kid in the early 80s. Obviously, these were the reruns.
Yeah.
Because the show ran from 1969 to 1980. And the show starred Maria Victoria, Joaquin Garcia, Begoña Palacios, Jorge Arvizu, and of course, Alfonso Zayas.
He played the butler.
He became a serial monogamist, and his personal sex life became somewhat legendary. He even dated a young 19-year-old Maribel Guardia. And yes, the same Maribel Guardia that was married to Juan Sebastian. So in an interview, Maribel has actually said that was one of the greatest relationships she ever had with Alfonso. He would always make me laugh, she said. Alfonso's film career really started to take off in the 1970s when he appeared in a handful of La India Maria movies. La Madrecita from 1974, La Presidencia Municipal, 1975, El Miedo no anda en burro, 1976, and 1979's Hilario Cortés, El Rey del Talón, which was not an India Maria movie. But Zayas is best known for his Ficheras Mexican comedy movies, with considerable sensual and sex jokes. His co-stars were usually other comedic actors, like his cousin Rafael Inclán. Ficheras, also known as sexy comedias or Mexican sex comedies, typically have storylines revolving around themes of sexploitation and mexploitation. Mexploitation is a film genre of low-budget films that combine elements of exploitation films and Mexican culture, or portrayals of Mexican life within Mexico, often dealing with crime, drug trafficking, money, and sex.
Yes.
The genre peaked in popularity in the 1970s, 80s, and died down in the early to mid-90s. Although the films have sexually suggestive plots and used numerous comedic innuendos and double entendres, they were not overly explicit and were never considered pornographic. Furthermore, it was not uncommon for the male characters to comedically fail in their attempts to win over or have sex with the female characters. They aimed to generate laughter more than arousal. The genre is similar to, and some say influenced by, Italian erotic comedies. The popular term Ficheras films came from the 1975 Las Ficheras, which was about dancing women who entertained men in nightclubs. And you said you saw this movie, right?
Yes, with Sacha Montenegro, and I think Lin May was in the movie. But yeah, I've seen that movie.
Would you say it was a good movie, or was it?
It was good.
Would it still hold up to today?
No,
so it's not even worth watching or looking for it.
I mean, the culture now it's so it's changed so much that now it's sort of be offensive for.
Well, I can see that because.
But think about it. I mean, just the Porkies and the Revenge of the Nerds.
Oh yeah.
I mean, for us, because we grew up on it, people around our age, we'll enjoy the movie as we did before.
Well, to me, it's very, like we've talked about, it's very nostalgic. You know, like I remember going with my parents to the movie theater.
Yes.
To watch these movies. I mean, I remember the first time I saw a naked woman on the screen in one of these comedies. I was kind of like, whoa, this is making me feel kind of funny down there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the thing is, in the Mexican culture, even if the movie was rated R, they allowed the kids to go see the movie. The kids could see the movie, not like American movies where you had to be 13 at least to see these type of movies or older.
Right.
But it was, for us, it was normal. You saw naked actresses, and it was like, it was new to us. It
wouldn't fly today.
Yes.
I agree. I agree. You know, I feel that it was a different time in the 80s. There was a movie theater here in LA, in the Valley, where they would show these movies. It was the Spanish Theater, and again, very nostalgic. I remember like the movie. I mean, I love the movies. You know, I remember just going and watching these movies, and like I said, it was. I mean, I'm a fucking pervert at heart, you know, and I love women, you know, and I feel like it kind of sparked or, I don't know, opened up my sexuality, you know.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, when you're going through puberty, that's the first thing those sexy comedies, you know?
Yeah. Well, all these movies that you've mentioned, I've seen probably 60% of them, but I never saw them in theaters. I saw them at home on video.
For the most part, yes. I remember watching these at home because my parents would rent them.
Mm-hmm.
But like once in a blue moon,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I had an uncle who would kind of like convince my mom and dad to like, hey, you know, let's go to the movies and, you know,
Mm-hmm.
we'll find a babysitter for the baby. And, you know, let's just take, you know.
Yeah.
But yes, like I said, it was a different time and it was a great time, you know, just the whole experience, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And, you know, unfortunately, Mexican cinema kind of started dying. I mean, we saw that documentary.
Yes.
On Vice.
I was taking notice around 94, 95, where the movies looked more like they were using like a regular family camera.
Right. Like El Mariachi. Like Robert Rodriguez is, you know.
Well, I mean, yeah, The Mariachi was a good movie, but I'm not talking about the production. You're talking about the original Mariachi.
The original Mariachi, the one that was shot with the.
Oh yeah, no, that still looked better than the movies that were coming back, the sexy comedies, and the 94 to 95. It just looked bad. It's like they were using.
I feel
home
like
video,
yes,
like home cameras.
Right, I agree. Production started changing. You know,
it's like well, I think you mentioned that no company was backing them up. It was the star of the movie who was doing investing the money in the movie, so that's why the movie was so low budget. You didn't see as much as the characters like the actors like Rafael Inclán, what do you call it? This Alfonso Zayas. They weren't making those movies. And now these other actors who were the the guest stars on those movies, like Charlie Valentino, Pedro Weber, Chattanooga, Luisa Alba, were the lead of these movies. Because I guess the reason they were the stars because they were paying for the movie,
right?
But they weren't as funny as the movies from the 70s to the 80s.
I agree with you because we were just talking about a movie with Charlie Valentino, and I remember there was a movie that I watched in the early 90s, and it was funny, but again, there was something about Alfonso Zayas that he was just comedy.
Yeah.
Like, he could fucking read me the fucking phone book.
Yeah.
And I would think he was funny, as you know. It's kind of like, it's like Will Ferrell. Like, anything he does, even if he's trying to be serious, is going to be funny, you know?
Yeah.
His persona was just so funny to me. And I feel there's never going to be anybody as funny in you know, I mean, yeah, we have Chespirito and Cantinflas, but, you know, I like adult humor as well, and I feel that no one will ever be as funny as Alfonso Zayas, you know?
Yeah, you're right. As the other actors you mentioned, a lot of people like them. I'm not really a Cantinflas fan. I'm more the Tintan, Resortes.
Yeah, Resortes is funny, yes. Even Chelelo.
Yes, well, he was a sidekick. He was also known as Antonio
He was a
Aguilar's
sidekick, but even him.
Yeah, he had those one-liners on the movies.
Right, but even just, God, he was just so funny.
Uh-huh.
You know, even with his one-liners or his reaction to.
I don't think he never got a lead or in a movie. He was always a sidekick.
Which is unfortunate. You know?
Yes, he was always a sidekick.
But yes, he was just a sidekick, but he was one of these. You know, he was so underrated. You know, and I feel a lot of these actors were so underrated as well, you know. Like Resortes, he's a funny, is a very
and a great dancer.
And a great dancer, yes.
He was a great dancer.
I mean, some say he actually invented the moonwalk. If you actually go on,
I heard about that.
You heard about that, yeah.
Yeah,
so,
Tintano was also, like I said, I loved his movies from the 40s, and when he came over to the 60s and 70s, I was like, I think he's past his prime. I think the same thing. I guess Zayas. I guess that's why he started making not that many movies in the 90s because I guess he saw the production wasn't as good as
Well,
before.
yeah, and,
even though it was low budget, but it was it was worse budget back in the middle of the 90s.
Oh no, yeah, it's like there was a decline in production. You know,
and did you ever see the video covers? It was so bad. The art that didn't even look like the actors. It's like some 13-year-old kid drew
from the 90s.
From the 90s,
no,
yeah.
No, but I loved the art from like.
From the 70s and 80s, yes.
It reminds me of the art that you would see for like Creature from the Black Lagoon, or the stuff from the 70s, or where everything's drawn. And it's
now you got me thinking. I wonder if they have those type of things, those posters in Mexico, those from those movies, from the sexy comedies. That'd be great if they had them posters, so I can put them on a.
You're right. Because I love that type of art. I love when stuff is actually drawn. Like the Boogie Nights cover. Mm-hmm. There's a Boogie Nights where it's like a cover where it's actually drawn. There's a Boogie Nights poster where it's actually drawn, like 70s style and stuff that I've always loved. Mm-hmm. But
I gotta check up on that. Yeah.
But yeah, it's
even though many people who come to my house will know like what the movie's about, only a few people will know. But like you said, it's nostalgic.
Oh, it's very nostalgic to me.
And like I said, I remember the movies, watching them. The ones I saw a lot was for Ficheras Mexicana 3 and what's the other movie I'm trying to remember from Zayas. When it came out, I was just Verduleros.
Oh, okay.
They hit the 3 parts. We came out on all 3 parts. Those movies I just can't stop seeing them. I've seen them I don't know how many times, and I'm the guy who's seen I don't know how many movies, but I've only seen them once. So
see, I think VIX, who is like the Spanish streaming service right now, and it's pretty much like bought. I mean, they bought up Pantalla, and now they're like the Spanish Netflix.
But is it Pantalla or Panteon?
No, Pantalla. It was called Pantalla. And they bought them out and basically, kind of said, kind of like.
But still, there's going to be a lot of movies missing. I guess they're just going to put a lot of. You will see, because like I say in video, the bad thing I see, the good thing and bad thing. The good thing is there's some sexy comedies on DVDs. The bad thing, they're putting them like 3 in or 4 in a disc, so I think
it's condensed.
Yes,
yeah, okay.
It kills the quality of the picture. That's the bad thing.
And for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, like, okay, when you guys watch a movie on a streaming service, and there's a scene where it's like a dark scene, and you see like blocks, that's what can, that's pretty much what it is. Mm-hmm. If you're watching it, because it's being streamed, so, if you're watching it like in 4K or, Blu-ray, it's a lot better quality. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like the people around our age will know this. When they used to have videos, VHSs. When you used to extend it to 6 hours, the quality was poor. With the big kind of grainy. I mean, you can put 4 or 3
it was
movies.
Good for porn, but not for like the stuff you wanted to save forever.
So yeah, that's the way I can explain it. The picture quality was very bad.
I agree. Back to the Ficheras movies.
Yeah.
So most of the plots for sexy comedies usually dealt with the sexual escapades of working class Mexicans. The male leads were often construction workers, truck drivers, or unemployed petty scammers, which is totally accurate. While the female leads were often nightclub dancers, waitresses, or prostitutes in small brothels, unfaithful wives, or everyday women. And yes, it's very true. I remember like the women were always from different types of walks of life, I should say.
Yeah.
And like we said before, these films were obviously rated unsuitable for minors under 18, but this is a different time. This is the 80s, man. Even in America, people were still driving with their kids in the front seat, drunk driving.
or sitting down in your pickup truck.
Yeah, exactly. So, again, it was a different time. You know, we were different kids back then.
Yeah, I came and sitting down on the pickup from all the way from Sacramento to El Monte. And my dad used to have a 1958 or 59 Ford pickup. So I was like leaning, sitting in the back, and I didn't know that how lucky I was, because now you can't do that anymore.
Oh, now it's like, fuck, I wouldn't put my kids in the like, you hit a bump, they go flying up in the air and shit. So other famous Fichera Films actors include Andres Garcia, Lin May, Jorge Rivero,
yes,
Alberto Rojas El Caballo, who's fucking funny as hell, Rafael Inclán, I love that dude, Luis de Alba, Raúl Padilla El Chaforro, César Bono, René Ruiz Tuntun, he was a little person, Pedro Weber Chattanooga, and some of the more popular movies include El Rey de las Chiferas, Entre Ficheras anda el Diablo, El Sexo me divierte, Trasplante a la Mexicana, La Pulquería, Los Plomeros y las Ficheras, Sexo, Sudor y Lágrimas. Are just some of the titles out there.
Oh, then you forgot a couple of actors. There was another actor named Roberto Flaco Guzman, and there was another actor called Manuel Flaco Ibañez.
Oh yeah, you're right. And I also forgot Charlie Valentino. We had these two actors that their nickname were Flaco, and I can see that they came out in a movie called The Rey de las Ficheras, which I think is the first, probably the only time I've seen the two Flacos in the same movie, Flaco Ibañez y Flaco Guzman. That's the good thing about these movies, that you had all these actors in these sexy comedies, and many of these actors made they were their own stars in their movies in later years. Right. Because like we were just talking about, there's a movie, as some of you know, I'm a huge Guns N' Roses fan. But yeah, there was a movie that I watched when I was maybe I think in junior high or high school, where it was César Bono, and I want to say Charlie Valentino, where they're have these two sexy women, and they're trying to make them dance. And I remember César Bono was like, "Pon Guns N' Roses, pon Guns N' Roses," and I was just like, "How fucking cool is that, dude?"
This movie was in the early 90s, or
it looked like it was shot in the early 90s.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
So by the time I watched it, it was like I said, I was in junior high or high school, so it was on TV. So it was on mid to late 90s that I saw it, But I just thought it was cool that my favorite band was included in one of these sexy comedias, But okay, so back to my boy Alfonso. In the 1980s, he became the highest paid actor in Mexico, and he was the most popular actor, beating the likes of Sylvester Stallone. In Mexico, he was more popular than Sylvester Stallone. Whereas Sylvester Stallone was big in the 80s with Rambo and the Rocky movies.
Oh, you know what movie was also big in Mexico?
Which one?
Cobra.
Okay, there you go. So this guy should have been bigger than anything, but Alfonso, my boy, beat him. So although the 80s brought him fame, money, and awards, he also found himself defending his movies from the critics and the media. He was actually once quoted saying, "Those movies you like to criticize fed a lot of people. Why don't you look to see the good that my movies bring?" And he's right. You're always going to have critics talking shit about certain genres. And I feel that genres that have a sexual stigma are the first ones to get attacked.
Yes.
So in the 90s, Zayas made some bad investments that nearly killed him. His bad investments left him almost penniless, where he said he often considered suicide. Luckily for him, his BFF Jill, Javier Lopez Chabelo, came to the rescue and cut him a check so he can continue paying his bills and get back on his feet. Soon after this, he met his last wife, Livia Garcia, who was 23 years younger than him. And when they tied the knot, they were actually married in a church, which was the first for Zayas, who had gotten married the previous 7 times with ex-wives in civil ceremonies and once in Vegas. Starting in the year 2000, Zayas actually began traveling to Miami to participate on a weekly sketch on Univision's Sábado Gigante, hosted by Don Francisco. Remember that show, comadre?
I remember that dreaded show. A lot of people used to, what do you call it, be glued to the TV watching that.
I
couldn't stand it. Well, they start singing jingles for the freaking commercial.
Yes. It was basically like a variety show.
Yeah,
and it was on for like what, 50 years or something like that.
It was yeah. I mean, it didn't get canceled for the ratings. It got canceled because this new guy took over the channel. He said, "You know what? You guys are too old." And the other show, Christina, which is a wannabe Oprah.
Oh, okay.
Also got
canceled.
Got canceled.
Yeah, they're right. So in 2003, rumors began to surface that he had colon cancer after going to the hospital for exploratory surgery. And the following year, in July 2004, Zayas began to experience a heart attack and was rushed to the hospital. His doctors told him he needed to have bypass surgery and was given a 50-50 chance of survival. His daughter once said in an interview that her father had a dream before the surgery, and he said that his heart was full of the people he loved and there was no more room in his heart. That's why they had to do surgery on his heart. His children said this was the only time they ever saw their father scared. He had bypass surgery where his surgeon told him, "I held your heart in my hand for 5 hours." With Zayas' career and busy schedule, he had somewhat of an estranged relationship with his children, but he said he loved every single one of them. All the siblings all agree that he had the best relationship with his youngest daughter, Dolores, named after his mom. She was also known as Lola. After his health scare, they became closer and put aside issues they had with their father. And you actually told me this, that one of his... Again, he had 9 children, and you said that one of them died in a helicopter accident, right?
Yeah, one of his sons died in a helicopter.
Yeah, I also found that when I was doing the research for this. I just wasn't sure, but you pretty much confirmed it.
Yes.
Because he was a helicopter pilot, and he died in a helicopter accident in 2004, the same year he had a heart attack.
Okay.
So, I mean, that sucks for any family.
Well, yeah, losing a son or a daughter,
right.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's pretty much his life in a nutshell. Alfonso Zayas actually left this world July 8th, 2021. He passed away of respiratory failure, and he was 80 years old. He's actually buried in Panteón Jardín in Mexico City. He's buried where former Mexican presidents are buried, and other greats like Jorge Negrete, Pedro Infante, and Javier Solís. So,
my favorite singer.
So that is the life of my favorite comedic actor and knowledge on the genre of movies that he, made famous.
Well, like I said, the first time I've heard of that, he was. I knew he was popular, but I knew he was that popular. And just looking at the list of the movies he's made.
Well, and then you said he actually in the 90s he came out in a movie with Mario Almada, right?
Yeah, he came in a movie. I think they wanted the whole, I guess, Lethal Weapon thing. They did it where Mario Almada was famous. He's a famous actor. He's like the Mexican Charles Bronson. What do you call it? He's like in the 60s and killing a bunch of bad guys. Yeah, he made a movie.
Just like, okay, so yes, and if I remember correctly, I mean, this motherfucker, he's always looked old to me.
Yes.
And he's started movies where, like, he looks like he's, like, 70, and his girlfriend is, like, 29. You know what I mean?
He's always fighting with his brother. Fernando Almada, yes. I wasn't a fan of Almada's. None of the movies. But they were big. They were big.
There's a horror movie that he came out in, and where there's like and it takes place in the Old West, and there's like 2 evil twins. Do you remember this?
You know what? It's. I think I remember. It's an old movie, right? Like in the 60s.
I would say
70s.
like 70s, early 80s.
Okay, so that was in the prime time. The prime time was. I think could be wrong. I think the Banda del Carro Rojo, I think, is the movie or one of those movies that.
Okay, so I just found it on Google. It's called El Extraño Hijo del Sheriff.
Okay.
With Eric. Oh, actually,
Eric del Castillo.
Eric del Castillo was the sheriff. Mario Mata was the doctor.
Well, his daughter is a famous actress.
Yeah, Eric del Castillo's daughter is Kate del Castillo.
I suppose the one that
the one that
finger.
Chapo with the Sean Penn. Yeah. But yeah, I remember watching. El Extraño Hijo del Sheriff, 1986. You know, I watched that as a kid. It scared the fuck out of me, man.
I mean, that's one of the movies that I heard mentioned. Mexican horror movies. Another one, I don't know the title, but the one with Pedrito Infante.
Oh, I know, like
something like that. That's one of those.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
That's another movie that a lot of people like to talk about. The Mexican horror movie.
Shit, it's on YouTube. I think I'm gonna watch that tonight.
It's movies that a lot of people talk about it. Mexican horror movies. Like I said, I was really into Mexican horror movies or Mario Mata movies. Like basically the movies I watch, and the movies that my dad used to watch with me, comes to think of, was such sexy comedies. And he didn't like Mexican movies, and that's the only ones he enjoyed seeing with me.
The Mexican, yeah.
Yeah, he loved Tun Tun and Alfonso Zayas. He wasn't too crazy about the caballo. Alberto Rojas, el caballo. But he used to love Alfonso Zayas and Tun Tun and Cesar Bono.
Well, Cesar Bono, I think his raspy voice was like made him funnier.
Yeah.
Like, no, not again. You know, like it was he used his raspy because like that's what he was known for. His plus he had kind of like a little goofy face and shit.
Yeah, well, like I said, that was his trademark. Another actor that my dad didn't like, I liked him. Like I said, he didn't like Resortes. And there was another one back in the 50s, Clavillazo. He used to have a little hat. Like I said, it's for the actors that he didn't really like. But yeah, you just had me thinking. He really didn't like to see Mexican movies. Only ones he used to see. I used to see with him. He used to love seeing with me with the sexy comedy ones.
Well, see, again, that genre, like, even though I would see them with my parents, as I got older, I was like, I'm not gonna lie, they were good spank bank material, you know? I was like, well, I'm just gonna go rent this sexy comedy from the corner video store, you know? And then pull an agent and record them. But anyways, that is our show on my boy Alfonso Zayas, the great Alfonso Zayas, and a little knowledge on the sexy comedy genre and I guess the cinematic world as well. And again, this is your host Zombie Torres and Val for Penetrate Your Brain, the podcast, where we penetrate your brain with knowledge. Follow us on Instagram at Penetrate Your Brain Podcast. Follow our link tree. Tell your people. And that is it for today. Anything you want to say, Val?
No, just like I said, thank you for listening to, and we'll bring some more new content and more titles to this site. So,
spread the word, tell your friends, and we will definitely bring you more. We will definitely penetrate your brain with more knowledge of cool shit. Thank you.